How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to New Mexico State Men's Basketball News. I'm Marshall, and today we're going to be talking about former Aggie Femi Odukale and how he's going to be playing for X-Rated this summer in the basketball tournament. Talked a little bit yesterday about how Jeremy Hart, former Aggie development coach, will be coaching in the TBT. Won't be coaching Femi. He'll be coaching Run DFW. And then we also have, Juwan Gordon, who played for former Kansas State players last year. And Jeremy Hart used to coach at Kansas State. So a lot of connections there. If you're playing the TBT, you're a really good basketball player. A lot of times you get, college hoopers, overseas hoopers, even former NBA players, or even really good YouTubers like Devontae Friga. And I feel like B. Dot, who does a lot of impersonations, you can find it on YouTube. He does a lot of NBA impersonations. Really funny guy. He's also playing alongside Femi, I believe. They have an NBA player, Eric Paschall, who played for the Warriors for a few years. Got a whole lot of minutes the year following their 2019 loss to the Raptors in the championship to former Aggie Pascal Siakam. Pascal and then Eric Paschall, kind of similar. But then once Steph Curry came back and they were healthy, didn't get a whole lot of PT, played overseas. Now he's playing the TBT. So Femi's getting a lot of great experience. Hopefully he can get a lot of big minutes and do a lot of great things for them. In this video, I just want to touch a little bit on Femi and talk about his Aggie career and just college basketball career in general and what led to him playing in the TBT. You guys gotta let me know if you guys like Femi or not, because I personally do. I think he's a cool guy. Was a solid player for us. But every time I make a post about Femi on my social media accounts, those seem to get the least amount of likes, and I don't know why. So please tell me in the comments what your opinion on Femi is as a player and as a person, if you guys got to know him. And let's get straight into this video. I first want to give a rundown of Femi's game. As you guys know, not the greatest shooter in the world, not a great free throw shooter at all, but he's a slashing playmaker. He get to the rim with ease and score at the rim well. Has some good passes there. Super athletic, can dunk really well. Has really long arms, big wingspan. He's a 6'6", 215 forward. Knows what he's doing and just can contribute at a high level. He's also from Brooklyn, so, a lot of good hoops there. So he's a lot of great basketball playing experience. He actually started his college basketball playing career at Pittsburgh. He played there for 2 seasons, his freshman and sophomore year. His first year there, averaged about 6.5 points. The next year, he averaged just under 11 points a game, which is about what he averaged with NMSU. Shot the ball a little better that sophomore year, but again, just never was really great at free throws, but knew how to get to the rim. And even though his three-point shot wasn't great and still isn't great, he's never afraid to take it. He has confidence in his shot, which is great. I watched him a few times this past year at Minnesota, and he developed that three-point shot a little bit, but early in his career, it was just not as good as it is now. And not saying it's great now, but it was worse back then, surprisingly. Something he's always been able to do, though, is play defense with those long arms. He's always averaged about a steal to 2 a game every year he's played in college basketball. That's definitely something you need. This past year at Minnesota, he started the year off not so great scoring-wise, but brought it on the defensive end, hence why he started in 30 out of 32 games he played in. And then his scoring, went up a lot toward the end of the year. At the start of the year, for like the first 7 to 10 games, he was only averaging about 2 points a game, so not great at all, the worst in his career. But then he developed at the end of the year and got his average up to about just under 7 points a game, kind of similar to what he did at Pittsburgh his first year, but playing for a pretty, skilled Minnesota team, even though they didn't finish the year off great. Big Ten conference, a lot of skilled players, and he was able to fit into that eventually and had a solid year overall for them, so happy for him for that. He was at Seton Hall after his first 2 years at Pittsburgh before he went to NMSU, then Minnesota. So he went to 4 different schools overall. But while he was at Seton Hall, wasn't the most efficient, but I feel like, he still played well overall. Started in 31 of the 32 games he played in, averaged about 7 points. Again, shooting wasn't the greatest, but his defense was. And he was able to contribute to help Seton Hall be as successful as they could be. If you remember, when Femi was with us at NMSU, he didn't play in the first 5 games of the season due to a waiver not being cleared. But once he got that cleared, he came back and scored 18 points in his first game back against Northern Colorado at home to help the Aggies improve to 3-2 at the time, which was the only time that season they really had a winning record, because then they lost 3 straight. A lot of games they should have won there, like against Louisville. And then he didn't play against UNM, which I feel like if he would have played, definitely would have won that game. I'll talk about that a few times on this channel. We lost by 1. So I feel like even, Femi, even if he didn't have his greatest game, I'm sure he could have contributed well, even if it wasn't on the scoring side. I'm sure he could have played some good defense, especially on House, because House was already not playing that great. You put Femi on him, I feel like House has even of a worse game than he already did. I believe he had how many points did he have? I can't remember exactly. I want to say 15 points, but most of those were in the second half. So we probably got tired guarding him after for so long, putting a lot of, ball pressure on him. I'm sure if we could put Femi there at moments and switch it up a little bit, would have had a chance to win that game, but we beat him this past year. That's all that matters. With Femi playing in the TBT this upcoming July, I'm pretty sure he wants to make a career out of basketball professionally. I'm not sure where he'll go. I can definitely see him playing, some high-level professional basketball. nowhere near the NBA or G League or anything like that, like some other Aggies have done. I mean, if he does, great. I just don't see that happening. But I also didn't see that happening with Deshaun Gordon, and he made it happen. So maybe he can prove me wrong. I wouldn't mind if Femi did. Obviously, I'm always going to root for our former Aggies to have success. But I think he can be a solid player overseas and one of those good leagues. Because, like I said multiple times, there's a lot of leagues overseas that aren't great. There's even some American professional leagues that some are good, some aren't. So I could see Femi at least playing in a pretty high competitive market and do some good things and make a name for himself. He's also a guy that can get some good blocks here and there. His turnovers and personal fouls proved to be an issue throughout his college career. So hopefully if he does decide to play professionally, which again, I'm sure he will if he's playing the DBT, hopefully he can fix that up a little bit. Kind of reminds me of Scoot Henderson in a way for the Blazers, how, sometimes they make a little too many mistakes, get a little too excited, whatever it may be. Femi's ball handling is really good, and he's really, fancy finishing around the rim, but sometimes he can try to do a little bit too much. Sometimes I feel like he just needs to keep it simple, but who am I to tell him that? He's a Division I basketball player trying to play professional basketball, so he does what he does. I just think those are, a few things that could definitely improve. But, again, great defender. Not the greatest shooter, but can, play make, create, make his teammates better and finish at the rim well. If he can improve his shooting a lot, I think he can do even better overseas. This past year at Minnesota, for example, I believe he only hit like one or two threes those first 10 games. Started hitting a lot more as time went on. Had a lot of really good dunks. But that's going to close out for the video today. Not a super long one. Just wanted to kind of give you guys a rundown of what Femi's doing this summer. And if he decides to go play professional basketball anywhere, you best believe we'll make a video on it, make a post about it. I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. Again, please let me know in the comments what your opinion on Femi is and him playing the TBT, and how far you think he could go if he were to take on a role playing professional basketball. I'm not sure what he went to school for, but I know I saw him at Milton Hall a lot at NMSU when he went there, and that's a lot for like journalism and animation and stuff. So not sure if he wants to do kind of similar to what I want to do, but I'm sure he can make a good career, whatever he wants to do, whether it's basketball or even just talking basketball, kind of like what I do. So rooting for his success, and I'm sure you guys will. Again, please let me know in the comments what you think, and I'm out.